Hi guys, I hope you had a very good week. I know this is really late. It's already March and I'm still reading Valentine's books. This book is definitely an adult book, so nobody under the age of like 18 should read this. I read The Trouble with Valentine's Day by Rachel Gibson, and it's about a woman who can't seem to stay in a relationship, a healthy relationship. Something happens and it always fails. The main character's name is Kate. She goes to live with her grandfather after she has a traumatic experience as a private investigator. She helps her grandfather run his store because her grandmother has passed. He desperately needs help and he's not willing to hire someone. Lives with him and helps him while she figures out what she wants to do and essentially starts her life over. And she has an embarrassing encounter with a man in a bar and makes a complete fool out of herself, of course. When she encounters him again at her grandfather's store, she has like a mental breakdown and he doesn't give any hint that he's notices her and remembers her from their awkwardness earlier. The other main character is Rob, and he owns a sporting goods store. He has an ex-wife and a daughter. He moved back to Gospel, Idaho to escape his ex-wife, essentially, and he needed someone to do physical therapy with him, and his mother is a nurse and she happens to live in Gospel. He has this like on-again, off-again relationship with his ex-wife, and I instantly hated her. She's just bitchy and crazy, and she just treats Rob like a trophy. That's all he is to her. He's this really hot guy, and she wants to have him because he's a really hot guy. She's just so prissy, and she wants everything her way, and she doesn't want anyone else to have anything. Like, she has no interest in Rob whatsoever. They don't get along as people. They didn't get along as a couple before they were even dating, and then she got pregnant, and they tried to get married, and they didn't get along as a married couple. The only thing that they sort of were compatible with was sex. I did like the author's writing style. It was clever and funny. It was absolutely hilarious. I laughed out loud to certain bits. I mean, it's definitely adult humor. There were some things that they were situationally hilarious, and it was beautiful, it was great. A lot of it was sexual humor, but it was so funny. Wonderful use of irony by the author. Good job. So the cover of the book, this woman, whom I assume is supposed to be the main character, is blonde. The main character is supposed to be a redhead, so I don't understand this cover at all. There are a lot of descriptions of clothes, small things that didn't really matter to the story. I mean, I like shoes and clothes as much as the next girl. I don't need to know what shoes she's wearing. I mean, if you're telling me that she's going hiking and she's wearing high heels, that would be, you know, important to the story, but I don't need to know exactly what her shoes or what Rob's shoes, or I don't need to know what they look like. The author describes a small little portion that I had no need to know that. We get this like 5-paragraph, page-long description of these insignificant details, and I did only find one error. If there were other errors, I did not notice them. There's no like romance until like the last fourth of the book or something, maybe the last third. So once the romance kind of starts, it develops very quickly. And maybe it's just because in the book, like, they're only like 10 pages apart, but I don't even think that there was that big of a time frame difference. They might have only known each other for like 2 months before they hook up. Personally, I like to know someone before I jump into bed with them, or date them, or marry them. What is it with female characters not getting their periods? Half of the stuff that happens in this book would never have happened if she was actually had a regular menstrual cycle. She wouldn't be wearing lace or anything white at all, or like skirts. So past this point, beware for spoilers. If you watch past this point and it ruins the book for you, because it totally will. Don't get mad at me. Please don't. It's all your fault. Okay, so, marriage ultimatum. They weren't even, like, dating. Like, they didn't go on a single date. They just had sex. And neither of them were entirely sure that they were in love with the other person. And she says, you know what? I'm gonna stop talking to you unless you marry me. What? Seriously? Like, what? What? What she could have said was, unless you agree to be in a committed relationship with me and we go on dates and we have an actual relationship that is not just sexual, then I'm gonna leave you. I understand that she's 34 and she's getting to the point in her life where she's kind of giving up, and she's like, if we're gonna be wasting our time and you're not gonna care about me and you're just eventually gonna dump me, I don't want to be with you. You can't even know if you like him enough to marry him unless you spend time with him, and they haven't spent a whole lot of time together. And then why did he ask her to marry him? He went along with it. I mean, he was already married to a horrible, horrible woman, and he got shot by a crazy psycho chick on top of it, and he's known this woman for a couple of months, and he chooses to ask her to marry him. So I think I gave this a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. I can't think of anything that would make it a 4.5 out of 5, so I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5. I'm reading The Count of Monte Cristo and starting March Classics. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to read 4 books. I chose the biggest book first. If it takes me 2 weeks to read it, it takes me 2 weeks to read it, and I won't get to one of the other ones. You can friend me on Goodreads or follow me, and my blog link is also down in the little sidebar description section area thing.